So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and look at Bill, the smartest man in the state of Texas in regards to veteran affairs. Sorry. But, and Bill, you know, one of the things you told me when I first came on is to reach out to my county service officer. And I know a lot of states don't have county service officers. So if you could, can you kind of tell us what that county service officer can do for the veterans here in the state of Texas? And then in regards to the nationwide, what can veterans do to set themselves up for success?
That first year after, you know, as you're going through transition while you're still in, that's the time also to reach out to where you're going to go to try to understand what in your community is going to be able to help you when you do leave that military installation for the final transition into civilian life. At the local level here in Texas, of course, county veteran service officers are the first line of defense in your local community. We've got 254 counties, and there's either a county veteran service officer or a qualified state veterans benefit counselor that covers each and every one of those counties. That's not true in all states, but there's a good VA website that you can go to called the National VA Resource Center that will tell you what the resources are for you to get help, someone to help you through this process, regardless of where you are.
And just as a reminder, I just want to make sure that folks know that you can find us at the bottom of the podcast. We'll get that link on this podcast.
Whether you're in Guam or Puerto Rico or anywhere else in the world, whether you're in a U.S. territory or anywhere else, you can use that resource to get some assistance. Most veterans don't know the question, much less the answer. It takes some time to do that stuff. And one of the most important things that a counselor or a county veteran service officer or a veteran service organization representative can do is to help you frame the question. And they will start with what happened to you right after, you know, as soon as you raised your right hand and said, I swear to uphold and defend, until you depart for the very last time. They're going to try to find out what were your injuries, what are the disease conditions that you manifested to start those claims processes. Mm-hmm. They start from your beginning of service to your end until your service is ended, and even up to a year after that. But if you don't file the claim, you will not get the benefits. They will help you shape the questions. They will help you find the answers, develop the evidence to help perfect any claim that you have.
Bill, you said veteran service organizations. You're talking like the VFW, the American Legion?
I'm talking about all the nationally accredited veteran service organizations that are accredited by the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. There are about 150 of those. Most of those, and they're not all of them are going to be available at your local regional offices.
Yeah.
The big ones, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, the American Legion, the Disabled American Veterans, the Military Order of the Purple Hearts, and some of your military associations, Association of the United States Army, the Navy League, the Air Force Association. Those type of associations also have benefits counselors that can help you from transition all the way until you need to go to a national cemetery or a state veteran cemetery.
Yeah. And so the number to our call center if you want help is
1-800-252-VETS, 1-800-252-8387.
And they're open from?
They're open from 7:30 in the morning until 5:30 in the evening. And we will, if you call us after hours, we will return your call first thing the next morning.
Great. So one of the reasons why I felt the reason to have a podcast was when you're going through transition, you're going through these 1/25,000 classes, and depending on where you're at, I can only speak to Fort Hood. It may not be air conditioning working quite right, and it might be warm, and you've got a formation that you got to get to. So you may not be listening to all the great information that's being put out there. Matter of fact, I know you're not listening to it. So I think it's important for you to know that you can reach out to at least to that number, 1-800-252-VETS, and we can get you pointed in the right direction, right?
And even if you are listening, I mean, so much information is being thrown at you at one time, you cannot retain it. Most of you, again, even after you've listened to that, then you're just got clutter in your head. You got to have somebody to help you focus that clutter to where it pertains to you and what happened to you while you were in service. And not just what happened in general to everybody.
Yeah, sure.
That's what a service organization and a service officer that's accredited can help you do.
All right. So that's kind of the Army perspective. Jim, what do you got from a Marine's perspective?
Well, from the Marine Corps perspective, I had a little bit different situation. I came home on terminal leave. My father was ill, and he passed, and I mustered out down in Houston. So it was a situation where, and I think that the most important thing that happened for me, and I would suggest this of any person that's leaving the service, is you find that mentor that in your hometown or in your local area that has been there, done that, been through this particular type of thing. I was lucky enough to find our local banker, Mr. R.C. Couch. Hit the beach at Normandy, was burned over 60% of his body about 2 months later as a tanker. But he had helped numerous veterans in the county that I grew up in navigate the system. And he made sure he would keep up with me every week. Have you gone and done this with the VA? Have you taken care of your education? And those mentors are invaluable. You can find them at the VFWs, American Legions, DAVs. In West Texas, you find them out at the Dairy Queens. All you have to do is drive through and see the license plates, DVs, Purple Hearts, Silver Star, whatever. But that person needs to be able to hold you accountable. Because it's easy enough to find out the information, but if you don't act on that information, then you're just spinning your wheels, and you get that feeling that maybe I don't need to follow up with something, and that's where you don't file that claim within that first year, and there you are. You're stuck with it for the duration.
You don't claim it in writing, you don't get it.
That's exactly right.
Well, and as a veteran, you're not going to get spoon-fed anymore. Like I said, you don't have the platoon sergeant out there on your back making sure you fill out the right paperwork. So you've got to do it. I think what is important to point out here, so far I've had two people on the round table, and you're going to see this as a trend, is you got to ask. Get out and ask. And there are so many organizations out there to help you, help yourself. But you have to take the first step as a veteran is to reach out and ask the question.
The other thing that veterans have a tendency not to do is they've gone through the military and they don't want to show any sign of weakness.
You bet.
And they will not tell you what happened to them. And a veteran service officer will ask you, tell me everything. When did you go on sick call? And what did you go on sick call for? And then I want to see your service medical records. And it's important that you get those so that they can help you make that decision. The injury that you had on the knee in service that does not bother you right now. When you are 70 years old, I guarantee you it will bother you. It will not get better, and I don't want to be morbid, but it will get worse over time. If you don't file the claim, you're not going to be able to get compensation for that in the future because of the continuity aspect of it. So even though it may be rated 0%, you're going to get medical care for that condition without any copay, without any prescription cost, if you will get it service connected from the beginning.
No, got it. All right, Sean. Oh, go ahead, Ann.
I was just going to say, and you younger OEF, OIF veterans, I know a lot of you guys have back issues, so that's another thing, unfortunately, is probably not going to get any better. And the traumatic brain injury, not going to get better as you age. So just wanted to tack that on to what Bill said.
Oh, that's good. So as a veteran, I will tell you, as of this podcast, I'm a pretty brand new veteran. So I think a lot of the problem is that soldiers don't identify themselves as a veteran when you step out. You have to recognize that you are now a veteran, and you have earned the opportunities, the benefits, the programs that are out there. And there's so many out there that you may be missing an opportunity to set yourself up for success, set your family up for success. So the first step mentally you have to do is recognize that you are now a veteran. You may not be that hat-wearing VFW flag-flying veteran that you think of when you hear the word veteran, but guess what? You are now a veteran, and we're here to take care of you. So if you can reach out to our phone number at 1-800-252-VETS, we will get you to the right point. And it won't be we're going to give you a number. We're going to do a warm handoff and get you to where you need to go to get your help. Ken?
Let me just add a little add-on to that, because in years past, when you define a veteran, some people, especially some women veterans that I've talked to in years past, say, well, I didn't serve in combat. I didn't leave Fort Hood, Texas. Mm-hmm. A veteran is a man or female who has honorably served their country, peacetime, wartime, in a combat zone, stateside, that has honorably worn the uniform and has an honorable discharge, is a veteran.
Sure.
So don't say, well, I didn't serve overseas, so I don't qualify. Everybody qualifies under those guidelines.
I had a military retiree once tell me, he said, I'm not a veteran. I'm a military retiree. And he simply did not believe that he had any other benefits other than those that DOD was going to provide him.
Yeah.
Survivor benefit, including benefits for his survivors, rather than those benefits that he earned as a veteran and a military retiree. So a lot of our constituents out there, particularly both female as well as military retirees, will miss out on a lot of benefits, not just for themselves, but for their survivors and their dependents, because they think they are in one pigeonhole name. I'm a retiree. That means I'm not a veteran. Veterans are only those folks that served 4 years or were draftees back in Vietnam or something. And the women that served in some of the World War II scenarios don't also believe that they are veterans, but they are.
Yeah. Edie?
I was going to say that's very true, but some of the World War II veterans, they were not technically veterans when they got out, but they got veteran status later.
Now.
And so we need to we need to identify you so we can check into that. One thing we take advantage of in the military, take for granted in the military, is going to train us for the next thing we do. The military is not going to train you to be a veteran. Nobody's going to train you to be a veteran.
Yep.
But you know what? It's your next mission, and so you got to prepare for it.
Exactly.
So you'll find your team when you get out. At Texas Veterans Commission, we do the claims. That's 252 Vets is going to hand you over to potentially one of the Texas Veterans Commission claims folks. That's the one thing that's kind of the egg that's going to go bad if you don't use that pretty quick. Everything else you think, I just want to get out. There was a famous picture of the Pentagon in the rearview mirror, right? You want to get that whole thing in the rearview mirror, and I just don't want anybody to tell me what to do or when to do it. But you know what? Believe it or not, even that takes planning, because you say, I saved up, I'm going to take a year off, and then a year later you're trying to get into a job market. Mm-hmm. Or I'm going to get out, I'm going to be a parent, stay-at-home parent, whether it's a mom or a dad, and then again, at some point you're going to want to get back in the job market. So you need to know what to do, and there are really productive things to do during that time that don't look like gaps in your resume. Yeah. So this is a mission. Prepare for it, and we're here to help you do that.
And I know that a lot of the services now have a great transition program, and it's evolving as it goes, and in regards to jobs and education. So if you're still a transitioning soldier and you haven't seen your transition assistant team or assistance team, then you need to make sure you reach out. I'm sure you're getting directed to do that anyway, but they will get you started out on the right foot. So